All right, now we turn to a man who knows all about haircuts. Okay, maybe not at all, but he does know a lot about football. Joining me now in the Hawk Zone to discuss the NFL draft is Terry Hollimon.
Wait. Before we jump into the football thing,
okay.
Amity, I gotta tell you, you were real slick with that comment, but I'm a little tender that you guys didn't take me with you to the salon. I like a little salon treatment every now and again.
You know what? I bet you they would give you a nice, wash and rub.
I used to have curls.
You used to have.
We'll talk about that later.
I like this. I like this Terry that is now. Everything about him I love, especially because you're going to help educate me on the NFL draft this weekend because I didn't pay attention.
Okay.
And I really need your help. But we,
okay.
I have to say we did well.
We did good.
Overall.
We did good. I'm really surprised and happy with the Seahawks' work in the draft. Usually I'm watching the draft and I'm like everybody else in Seattle. I'm upset because the Seahawks usually trade back. They don't usually take their first and second round picks, or they've done something and switched them and traded them off. But this year, instead of watching other teams cheer in the first round, we got to cheer. We got some good picks.
So we handled it overall pretty well this year.
We did. We did very good.
Seahawks had the 5th overall pick. They used it on a cornerback, Devin Witherspoon. I guess a lot of people were taken by surprise by that?
Yes, a lot of people were taken by surprise.
Okay.
We thought that the Seahawks would take that pick and pick up a defensive lineman, an interior defensive lineman, because that's a place where the Seahawks have been kind of lacking the last couple of years. We've been at the bottom of the NFL when it comes to stopping the run, and we need somebody in the middle of that defensive line to stop the run. And at that point, they had probably the top player in the NFL draft still available that plays defensive line, and they didn't pick him. But they went and picked up a defensive back who's going to be pretty good.
Okay.
His name is Devin Witherspoon, for anyone who needs to know.
Devin Witherspoon. Okay, all right. They used their 2nd round pick on a receiver from Ohio State.
They did. They did. And this guy is dynamic, incredible. He's been an incredible receiver. I've watched this kid since he was in high school all the way through college at Ohio State. He was one of the most exciting playmakers in college football for the last couple of years. And the Seahawks are getting an immediate impact player at the wide receiver position. They've already got 2 really good ones.
Right.
When you talk about DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, adding a 3rd is just going to make them even that much better. This guy can do it all.
So, their first pick was a cornerback.
Yes.
2nd overall first-round pick, receiver. So are you thinking still, where are you going to pick up your defense?
Right. I mean, here's the thing. So a lot of fans out there, a lot of 12s were thinking, what are the Seahawks doing? These are areas of concern that weren't on the table for these guys.
Right.
Again, we wanted to be able to stop the run on defense. And we thought immediately they were going to go out and do that. But they went and got a couple of the best players that were in the draft that were available. So they did good.
So does that just tell you that there were people they had their eye on that they really liked? And Coach Pete, he's the one who kind of says this is what I want, right? And John
Pete
Schneider,
says what
obviously.
he wants. John Snyder's the guy that goes to buy the groceries.
Yep.
So that's exactly what it looks like. John Snyder's the guy that goes out and buys the groceries. Pete is the guy that has to put the ingredients together and make it work. So it's a perfect combination. Yeah, you've never heard that before, right?
I'm glad that you laid that out for us. Were there any other picks that stood out to you?
There's a couple. I think we got a really good rush in, which is somebody that you always need in the National Football League. Somebody to get after the quarterback. A young guy from Auburn by the name of Derek Hall. He's going to be really good. He's really fast, really strong. I like him. And I like the running back that they picked up. Again, the Seahawks think that they have a great running back already in the Walker the third that they have already. But they picked up a guy out of UCLA who I've watched a lot in college. His name is Zach Charbonnet. And I think we're going to like him just because I like saying his name. Charbonnet.
Even when he plays against the Huskies, you like saying his name?
I didn't like it as much because he's really good. He's a big, strong, strappy running back and the kind of guy that we've known and loved here in Seattle for a long time, like a Chris Carson or a Marshawn Lynch. This is a big, strong, strapping guy. I think he's going to be the good yin to the yang to the Kenneth Walker that we already have.
So we didn't get a quarterback at all?
No.
What does that say to you?
No. Again, that was a surprise to a lot of fans as well. But what it says to me is that John and Pete are happy with what they have right now with Geno Smith. They found somebody that can run their system and somebody that they can be comfortable with for the next couple of years. And so they spent a lot of money on him in the offseason, so they didn't feel the need to go spend a lot of money on a young guy right now. So.
All right, that's fair. That is fair. Was there a player at the draft that you were really hoping that Seahawks would get? You mentioned that one defensive lineman who was still available in our first pick. Who is that?
So let's talk about him, because I think he was a guy that everybody, all the experts and critics and pundits thought that the Seahawks would pick up. His name is Jalen Carter, out of Georgia, the University of Georgia, and he is literally the best player in the draft. I've watched him on film do some incredible things and take big, strong men and pick them up and put them on their back. They actually did a play in college last year where he pushed the offensive lineman out of the way, sacked the quarterback, and just held him in the air like this until the referees blew the whistle. He was amazing, but here's the challenge, though. He had some off-field issues, some things that they had questions about. He was involved in a speed racing accident where actually 2 people lost their lives in the offseason. So there were some character issues, challenges. I'm assuming that's why he fell so far in the draft. But he's going to be an incredible talent in the NFL if he can keep himself together.
Well, hopefully that's kind of a lesson, just to try to live a good life, be a good human overall.
Right.
Because it does affect you. Because no matter how good you play,
exactly,
you got to be a good person too. And I think the Seahawks really do a good job of finding the right people for that.
Absolutely.
All right, overall, what would you say? How would you grade the Seahawks draft?
I would probably give them a B+. And I give them a B+, and I think because they got some extremely talented young men, some guys that are going to become mainstays in the Seattle area that are widely recognized and play incredible football. I wouldn't give them an A just because they didn't address some of the concerns that they have early, but they did pick up some players that probably in the late rounds that will be able to fill some roles.
We have the off season for that.
Yeah, they'll be able to work some things out.
All right.
I have faith in these guys, man.
I appreciate you, Terry. Thank you so much for breaking it down.
Absolutely.
And I'm excited for the Hawk Zone to return regularly so I can see you every week again.
I can't wait for it.
I love it.